Welcome back to the OSM channel. Those of you that watch the channel regularly will know that my wife's grandfather John recently passed away. With his passing, I was handed down many of his precious tools. I made a video going through that precious tool collection. I'll leave a link for that video in the description down below. But receiving his tools presented a bit of a challenge because my toolbox is already getting short on space. So what I've done, I've spent the past 2 days cleaning, sorting, and filing his precious tools into my own collection here. Took a lot of work, changed a lot of drawers around. Additionally, I've also added this labeling system so everything goes back into its place. I'm really pleased with the results and I would like to share the results with you in this video. So we're going to do a toolbox tour. Now this toolbox is definitely not going to look as clean as the guys that can afford to go out and spend $250 on a set of screwdrivers, because when you spend that kind of money you get a nice foam block and it looks really clean, but also that takes up a lot of space. So I would call this a budget-friendly OCD toolbox tour. Without further ado, let's get started. So first I want to talk about the labeling system that I've developed here. Now each drawer has its own identification number. Next to the identification number you have the main category. Additional labels indicate that there's other important tools in the drawer that you should be aware of. So the drawers on the left are labeled L1 through L9. Drawers on the right, R1 through R9. So let's go through a few of these drawers here. L1, mainly socket wrenches, but you also have extensions. L2, bits. You also have picks in this drawer. L3 is drafting, L4 is needle nose pliers mainly, but you also have a riveting gun and spackle knives. I feel like the numbers help when you have a buddy helping you out on a project. Say, for example, I'm underneath the truck and tell him, hey, I need you to go to R3 and get the electrical crimp tool. And you could look at the drawers, oh yeah, R3. You know, you're not wasting any time, and then you could go pick up the tool you need. And when you're done, you know exactly where to put it back. So we're gonna start top of the box and work our way down. Starting with this fold-over tray, I like to stick anything I can find that is magnetic up here. So magnetic torpedo levels, magnetic parts tray. I'd love to get more of these. These are so freaking handy. Magnetic angle finders. Makita flashlight, grabbing this all the time, like to keep it easily accessible. Has a good home at the top left corner of the box. Top right of the box, 2 half-face respirators. One is for dust particles and the lower one is for VOCs. When we're talking about PPE, I believe PPE should be accessible, but you also need to educate yourself on the proper PPE to use for the right job. Like the 2097 half-face respirator cartridge, I believe it's good for some nuisance VOCs, but really if you're doing a lot of spray paint, you need to get a proper half-face respirator that can protect you for that job. Like 2097 really is more for dust particles. But regardless, they're accessible, they're easy to use. And when PPE is accessible and easy to use, you're going to find yourself using it more often, if you care about your body, that is. And then we have the sockets on the top of the box here. 1/4 inch drive, 3/8 inch drive, 1/2 inch drive. And then this green box over here houses my 1 inch drive. Rarely used, but when I need them, I really need them. Also 1/2 inch breaker bar. Have a 1/2 inch drive torque wrench. And then also a couple of large torque sockets on the right as well. Now let's move on to drawer L1. So this primarily has socket wrenches, but also has extensions and other adapters. 1/2 inch drive, 3/8 inch drive, 1/4 inch drive. Few notes: if I could buy my socket wrenches all over again, I get the socket wrenches without these soft handles. I don't like them for 2 reasons. One, if you need to put a leverage extension bar onto these, they tend to break and tear. You can see the end of that one broke off. Have a little bit of damage to this one. But additionally, these soak up oil. They're very hard to keep clean. Like if you wanted to grab this barehanded, you'd have oil on your hands. So if I could buy these all over again, I get ones that are only chrome or have the hard handle. Another note here, 1/4 inch drive, torque wrench, very handy because that 1/2 inch drive torque wrench only goes down to maybe 50 pounds. This is in inch pounds. It's easy to do the conversions, but this really helps out where you need those low torque spec settings that the 1/2 inch drive torque wrench cannot get to. Also have our extensions, non-impact rated, then the impact rated swivels, adapters, spark plug wrenches. Also have this tool, which I use once in a blue moon. This is called a squeeze wrench. Basically, this is like really low profile socket wrench. So you would pick the adapter. Like if you wanted to use 1/2 inch, put this 1/2 inch adapter in the chuck here, and then as you squeeze this, this will turn the fastener. So really helpful once in a blue moon. Can't really do a high torque load with this, but you know, if you're in a tight spot trying to spin on or spin off a fastener, this does come in handy every once in a while. So R1, tap and die, razors, and marking equipment. Let's move on to drawer L2. So we have bits and picks, just some real small screwdrivers on the left, small files, which I basically never use. Probably should get rid of those. I use this kit all the time. This is a specialty bit kit, and this has a bit for pretty much any fastener you could come across. There's tamper-resistant bits, Torx, hex, square drive, flathead, Phillips, I mean, you name it, this kit has it. Just some other extra bits that I've collected over the years. I got this from John. This is a low-profile bit driver. It's definitely going to come in handy once in a blue moon. Good variety of picks and tweezers. You know, you drop a non-magnetic fastener into an engine. These are great for allowing you to sneak into tight spaces and grab whatever dropped. These also come in handy a lot. These are surgical tweezers. So they have these steps, and basically when you squeeze the handles together, it locks and it prevents it from coming undone until you offset these. So if you need to hold something small in place with one hand, in an awkward position, these definitely come in handy for that. Drivers, screwdrivers, small set screwdrivers, flex head, large screwdrivers in the back. I've really reduced the amount of screwdrivers I have to what I think I actually need. You know, 90% of the time I just use a bit driver. I'm not using these other screwdrivers. And we also have some socket drivers, I'd call them. Those are a new addition, got those from John. I think those would be great for working on small engines. Moving on to one of my favorite drawers, L3, drafting. So we have some tape measures, squares, carpenter squares, rulers, protractors. Call these dividers. There's probably a better term for these. Basically, you can set the angle of these, create a perfect circle. Outfitted one with a Sharpie because I needed a Sharpie as opposed to a pencil. Good old plumb bob. Never went wrong with the plumb bob. Caliper, feeler gauges, chalk line. And this is one of my favorite tools back here and probably my most used tool. Caliper. This has so many applications. For example, if I wanted to find a drill bit that matched the diameter of this pencil, simply measure the pencil. There's a set screw that I can spin and hold the measurement. In this case, the diameter of the pencil is 0.301 thousandths of an inch. So I would find a drill bit just a little bit bigger than that. There you go. Such a handy tool. R3, 12 volt electrical. I don't know where to start. So, bunch of different electrical tape, different colors. Also keep my Teflon tape in here. This Blue Monster stuff I found to be the best out there. Never had a leak with the Blue Monster. Blows away the cheap white stuff. Just conventional black electrical tape. I have 4 boxes of connectors. So this is standard heat shrink tubing, which I don't really use that often anymore, but it's still handy to have around. Primarily when I'm making my electrical connections, I use these connectors now. These are an all-in-one heat shrink and solder connector. So what you would do, you'd strip your wires, slide the appropriate size connector over one wire, wrap the bare copper wire together, and you would use a heat gun or a low temperature torch. There's a bit of solder in there, so that solder melts. There's glue, where you see the blue and the blue. So the glue seals this heat shrink connector, and obviously the jacket shrinks down to the wire. So this is just an all-in-one great way to make a solid electrical connection. I don't believe in crimp connectors unless you're in a pinch. I do have a box over here with crimp connectors, the yellow, the blue, the red. And I really don't use them much anymore, if at all, just because I believe soldering wire definitely is the way to go. Just a box of miscellaneous connectors in here too. Automatic wire stripper. If you've never used one of these before, definitely buy one of these. I think they're like 20-25 bucks. Just saves you so much time when it comes to stripping wire. I would not use this for 120 AC, but I would use this on stranded automotive copper wire all day. You have an adjustable tension setting. So, you know, you can control how firm you're being with the wire. If you're using a thinner wire, you would back this tensioning knob off and it wouldn't do any damage to the wire. Just a fantastic tool. Crimp tool and just a traditional wire stripper. Also have butane torch in here, lead-free solder, larger soldering gun, smaller soldering iron for working on electrical boards, and a couple of jumpers. Moving on, L4 needle nose pliers, riveting and spackle knives. I have a bunch of smaller pliers. These are handy. When I reach for a pair of needle nose pliers, these are my go-to needle nose pliers with the offset jaws, offset head, whatever you want to call it. This is great for pulling cotter pins, hairpin cotters, getting into tight spaces. I just really like the offset head is what I'm getting at here. Also use these all the time. If you don't have a set of extended reach needle nose pliers, this should definitely be on your wish list. And just spackle knives, riveting gun, a few different scrapers. Now this toolbox is like a mix of automotive and homeowner tools. So. R4 pliers. So we have some nippers, cutters, tin snips, traditional pliers. Now I always get this name messed up. Every time I do a toolbox tour, somebody always corrects me. I always call these lineman pliers. I expect you to correct me in the comment section down below. Also channel locks, a few different sizes. Gotta have the channel locks. L5, open-ended and box wrenches. Pretty self-explanatory. I got these sets from Tekton. They've held up really well. Never had one bend or break. Also have a big 1-inch plumb open and box wrench in the back here, and then some small open and box wrenches, which I pretty much never use those. So this drawer is a new addition, and I'm very pleased with how this came out. This drawer is parallel to my other drawer with the open and closed box wrenches. So this is R5 offset and ratcheting wrenches, but we also have chisels and punches. So here we have the offset wrenches, which the heads, here's a gentle offset. You know, they're not extreme, but they definitely come in handy once in a while. Some of these go very large, like these closed offset wrenches. This goes up to 1 5/16. Craftsman, made in the USA. Some good stuff right there. A couple of Craftsman open wrenches, forged in the USA. Again, some great tools there. These, I got these from John. These are very special snap-on ratcheting wrenches. Never had ratcheting wrenches before. They have snap-on too, man. I'm moving up in the world here. Also have a snap-on brake line tool. Got that from John. Very special tool there. Punches, chisels, center punches. Let's move on to L6 glasses. So this is a PPE drawer. I want to talk a little bit about safety glasses here. I dedicated a drawer to the glasses because you only get one pair of eyes, and it's important that you protect them. I found these to be some of the best safety glasses out there. They're made by 3M, and they have this foam gasket. So when you're working with a grinder or metal, you know, there's dust, sparks, all that shooting up in your face. These definitely, in my opinion, offer the best protection because of that gasket lining. You know, you take a traditional pair of safety glasses, there's no gasket in between the glasses and your eyes, so that leaves a lot of room for schmutz to get in your eyes. These do fog up a little bit, but I would rather them fog up and have the protection over not having the protection. I also want to talk about shaded safety glasses. So in the past, when I used a plasma cutter or an oxyacetylene torch, I used to grab shade 5 glasses. However, over the years, I found these to be a little light. I now prefer shade 7. And I keep them in this case. So these are shade 7 glasses designed and approved for the intended application. What's cool about these glasses is they have these cups that go on the side of your face, you know, like you see older people wear when they drive. These are fantastic because they help to shield your eyes from that really bright, eye-damaging light. So I definitely recommend you picking up a pair of shade 7 glasses if you do any oxyacetylene cutting or you work with a plasma cutter. Moving on, R6, monkey wrench, vice grips, and adjustable wrench. So we have a variety of monkey wrenches, a few different varieties of vice grips, large, small, needle nose. I mean, those come in handy all the time. Adjustable wrenches. Here's a pretty unique monkey wrench. It's got this offset. Never really had a need to use it, but it's here. Here's something that I've had in my drawer for a while, but I've never really used it. Has anybody ever used one of these? Slip and lock nut wrench. Where would you use this wrench? Let me know in the comments section down below. L7, this is an automotive tool drawer. Also have pneumatic tools and parts and my scan tool. So we open up this drawer. On the left, I have this auto trim removal tool kit. This comes in handy when I'm trying to remove an interior plastic panel without breaking any clips or damaging the panels. There's a variety of plastic pry tools in here. Also a body clip removal tool. I have another one right there. This is great for interior work, electrical customization, very handy kit. Stethoscope, silica gel, basic scan tool, body clip removal tool. When I was talking about the socket wrenches earlier, this is the type of handle that I would prefer. This hard plastic handle, very easy to clean, and you can grip this without a gloved hand and not worry about getting schmutz on your hand as long as you keep it clean, but definitely prefer this over the soft grip. Some roll lock discs for my right angle die grinder, which that's out on the bench right now. Some other softer discs too. These are handy for cleaning up gaskets. Low profile pneumatic right angle drill. I just used this the other day to drill out some broken head bolts on the GMC Terrain. These are fuel line removal tools. Snap ring plier set. And that's it for this drawer. R7, another automotive drawer, primarily pry bars and filter wrenches. So tire spoons, forks, variety of oil filter wrenches, 5 different size pry bars. Grabbing for these all the time. Got this from John too. This is a drum brake adjuster tool. Here's my homemade one. Better to have the proper tool. This is, what is this, a 32 millimeter socket. This is for, yeah, 32 mil. This is for the oil filter on a GMC Terrain. This is for removing the harmonic balancer, the crankshaft bolt on a Honda Pilot, if I'm not mistaken. L8 PPE drawer. Let's talk about disposable gloves for a second. Now your skin is the largest organ in your body, and if you're anything like me, which chances are you are, you're always dealing with solvents, oil, grease, paint, and if you allow that stuff on your skin, it will get absorbed into your skin. That's why it's so important that you try and protect yourself with disposable gloves. These are the gloves I like. They're made by Comfy, Nitrile, 6 mil. I normally get a few uses out of these. I'll take them off. Medium is a nice tight fit for me. I like a tight fit, but you know, you get large or medium, whatever works for you, but invest in these gloves. Protect your skin. A couple of cheap earplugs. Use this old ski mask for painting every now and then. Extra filters for the half-face respirator. Then I think these are KN95 masks. These are good. If you're working with fiberglass or something, just need a disposable mask to protect your lungs. But generally I grab for the half-face respirator because it's a lot easier to breathe through that. Drawer R8, another automotive drawer. Engine tools, hose hooks, gasket scrapers. So we have an engine compression gauge. This is a piston ring compression tool. Just used this to successfully rebuild my MS261. Gotta have some mechanic smears. These were necessary for replacing the exhaust manifold on the GMC Terrain, especially that big camping mirror. Very handy tool. Got these from John. A gentleman online informed me that these are for pulling battery terminals. Never heard of such a tool, but I'd imagine these will be helpful for pulling small gears as well. Gasket puller, gasket scrapers, hose hooks, and then also valve stem installation tool and valve core removal tools. Drawer L9, full face respirators and gloves. So gloves, primarily insulated gloves for winter. Few extra goatskin gloves. I really love these VGO goatskin gloves. They just have incredible dexterity. They're great for carpenters, anybody who needs really good dexterity, but you know, you also want to protect your hands. These are my go-to gloves for sure. We also have the full face respirators. One is designed for VOCs, and the other one is really just a particulate filter. This full face respirator is made by MSA, and I'll tell you what I use this for. I use this when I'm cleaning my chimney. When I clean my chimney, I typically clean it from the bottom up. So that requires you to stick your head into the fire chamber and look up into the flue and work this rod up there. This protects your eyes, your nose, your mouth, and your lungs. The cartridges on here are P100 filters, and they are perfect for filtering out soot. Finally, the last drawer here, R9, corded power tools, map gas torch, paint guns, stud finder, laser level. It's kind of like a mismatch of a little bit of everything. Palm sander, corded hammer drill / regular drill, paint guns, map gas torch, propane torch, different gun tips, stud finder, and laser level. And I do have 2 annex toolboxes that support my main toolbox. I'll kind of quickly run through them. So my Makita power tools, the top drawer, bonding chemicals, files. What do I have in here? Woodworking wedges, mechanic wire, polishing stones, wire brush, MIG welding, grinding discs, so extra MIG wire, tips, grinding and cutting wheels, miscellaneous hardware, nails, special screws, O-rings, cotter pins, hitch pins, hose clamps, just a variety of hardware in this drawer. Finally, 12-volt lights. This is kind of like my goodie box down here, so extra off-road lights, amber marker lights, extra garage door openers, have a survivor light, you know, hot glue gun, some locks, 1-inch pneumatic valve, a good variety of goodies down there. Annex box number 2, not in terrific shape, but it does its job for how much I use it. The top of the box here, a few special tools. This tool right here really deserves its own video. This is a Simmons crosscut filing gauge tool, multi-tool, really cool tool. Variety of drill chucks in there, punches, spindles, extra drill bits, masonry bits, countersink bits, very large bits, spade bits, long bits, number punches, hole saws, wire wheels, Allen head wrenches, some wire brushes, extra sockets, drivers, extensions, swivels. That drawer is really handy when I need to make a specialized mechanics tool. I'd call this drawer my plumbing drawer. Have some monkey wrenches, irrigation pipe cutter, copper pipe cutters, black pipe cutter, some stapling guns. And then these are just extra good tools in the bottom down here. So I have an extra old Dremel 1/4-inch drive, socket kit, some adjustable wrenches, extra screwdrivers, just a bunch of junk that I don't want to get rid of. I'd like to thank you for watching. I'd also like to hear your feedback. Is there anything you would change, reorganize, label differently? Please let me know in the comment section down below. Again, thanks for watching. As always, I will catch you on the next one.